What's good? It's Divine Sense Boxing in the building. Hopefully, by now, you've already watched the weigh in. Manny Pacquiao versus Yordenis Ugas is set to go. We're back to boxing. It's not exactly the fight that we wanted to see, but nonetheless, I feel like it's still a big fight. I feel like it's still a competitive fight. And I'm looking forward to it. So we got Felix in the building to start it off. Stormy B, man, which by the way will be doing his Friday night chop up right after this, I believe at 8 p.m., an hour from now. So make sure when you're done watching this, you jump over to Stormy B's channel. I'm sure he's going to have a great segment for you tonight. And we also got Willie in the house as well to kick it off. I understand that a lot of people are, still at work at the moment. But unfortunately, this is the only time that I can do this. So let's get it done. Now, it's early morning for me, obviously, 7 a.m. my time on Saturday. So I just got done watching the weigh in. And my first and initial thoughts, it's a typical Manny Pacquiao weigh in. I've seen this story many times. And what I mean by that is, the demeanor and the atmosphere seems to be quite under control, nice and humble. Both fighters look ready to go. Uh, as far as Ugas, he looks in phenomenal shape. Phenomenal shape. 147 on the dot. Solid. Looks trim. Looks lean. And he looks motivated and confident. His body language is speaking a very good language to me, and so I'm ready to see what he has to bring to the table. I probably would say that he would rehydrate to probably about 151, 152 on fight night. He will be bigger than Manny Pacquiao. That you can guarantee. I believe Manny Pacquiao stepped on the scale and hit 146. So that's a decent weight for him. I mean, people have to realize that Manny Pacquiao's power never came from his upper body anyways. It always came from his legs. He's always had the fast twitch muscle fibers, in his arms and whatnot to have hand speed, but the power is always generated from his legs, and that's where he carries a lot of his weight from the waist down. So 146 is a solid weight for Manny Pacquiao. What I didn't want to see was him be like 143, 144. I would think that he wouldn't look good at that weight. But he is 42 years old. So by this time in his life, he should be fitting into the 147 pound category quite comfortably, I would imagine. So I think he might come in at like maybe 149-ish. I don't think he's going to tap 150. I don't think he is. And I think Ugas will definitely be the bigger man in the ring. So those are my initial thoughts of the weigh-in. You guys can leave your comments below on what you guys thought about the weigh-in. Let me know what you think. Also, in the meantime, at the top of this chat, I have a link. It's pinned up there. I pinned it. If you want to jump in and give me your thoughts live, that's available for you. I know a lot of people are out and about or doing their thing, but if you want to jump on here, I am taking live calls. I know who you are, so don't try to do any sneaky shit. And you can tell me what you think about this fight. Felix says, I'm getting Pacquiao versus Claudio vibes. Laugh out loud. What an underwhelming fight that was. That was a terrible fight. That was a terrible fight. I wasn't hyped about that fight to begin with. Wasn't like I thought Joshua would have done more, but I wasn't necessarily surprised, to be quite honest with you. I don't think, however, Ugas will do that. I don't think he's built that way, and I think that he's definitely going to bring something to the table. Um, Yave was good, man. Official member of the channel. Always good to see you. So I saw a lot of channels go live throughout the evening, and I would imagine that a lot of people are probably burned out from being on YouTube all day. So I didn't expect a lot of people in this live chat, but it's all good. It's all good. This will be uploaded. People can drop by and give their thoughts later on through Saturday morning. Speaking of which, I will be live once again with Stormy B. He is featuring me in his "In the Eye of the Storm" segment that he has on his channel. That will be Saturday morning, I believe. So before the fight. So a nice little appetizer. You guys can jump to Stormy B. I'll be on there. He'll be interviewing me for his "In the Eye of the Storm." If you guys want to learn a little bit more of a personal side of the story, then that's what I recommend you to do. Um, Felix says, "Where did Claudia go?" Just vanished off the face of the earth. Laugh out loud. I mean, obviously he went in there and got a payday. I don't know. I don't know how any other way to cut it or slice that, but basically came in for a payday. Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, it's not like he doesn't have ability or didn't have ability, and we saw him in some wars, and it was very disappointing. But I don't think we're gonna see that. Like I said, I don't think we're gonna see that. I think we're gonna see a motivated and confident Ugas. I believe he knows that this is his opportunity, and he has the belt. They're fighting for a belt that he currently possesses. So there's something at stake. Not the physical belt itself, obviously, but the rights to be the champion and claim something and take something back home with you um, is definitely there on the table. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the fight. That's kind of like the purpose, final thoughts of the fight. Most of you know I've already made a video about this, a breakdown / prediction video about this about a week ago. So if you haven't watched that and you want a little bit more detail, you guys can check it out. It's on my channel. Willie says, I see Manny winning by counterpunching the straight right of Ugas if he can. Yeah. I mean, what I'll go ahead and do now, and we'll see as we go along here in the live stream where people stand in regards to who they think's going to win. I'll go ahead and drop a poll in the chat right now. I meant to do that earlier. And then you guys can tell me who you got. I think that this is going to be a very competitive fight, more than what people are willing to give it credit for. And the thing is that most people are simply just disappointed. I feel like there's a lot of disappointment. Obviously, we're not getting the fight that we really wanted, which was Manny Pacquiao, Earl Spence. There was a lot riding on that fight. It was pretty much split. I mean, obviously Earl Spence coming in as the favorite, but Manny Pacquiao fans were super excited, and they thought that he had a real chance at glory once again at 42 years old to take down arguably the best, if not the best, welterweight. And unfortunately, it's not happening. And so I think because of that, people are automatically just writing Ugas off because he's a replacement fighter. And anytime you're in a situation like Ugas where you're stepping in as a replacement fighter, and I hate to use that word because he is one of the best welterweights out there, then people are just like, ah. But that's the thing, right? That's the thing for Ugas. That should be extra motivation for you. Nobody's giving you credit. Nobody's putting you at the same level as Earl Spence. So that should be a motivator for you. That should be like, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to prove to people that I ain't no replacement fighter. I could have very easily had this fight without Spence being mentioned before me. And so I think that's a big motivator, man, for Ugas, to be quite honest with you. For me, am I disappointed that the Earl Spence fight didn't happen? Of course. Of course. I like Earl Spence a lot. I like what he brings to the table, and I've been watching his career for quite some time as he's went up through the ranks and become a champion and has done what he's done. But things happen. And I feel like I have the intelligence enough. Unfortunately, I don't think people do, but I have the intelligence enough to realize that shit happens, man. You know what I mean? And credit to Pacquiao and his team and all the promoters for salvaging the date. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna have a fight tomorrow, and that's what's up. And it's a credible opponent. It's not some trash can that they pulled off the street. It's going to be a tough opponent. So, you just got to look at it in a positive way and just be happy that we're going to get a nice boxing match. That's just the way I see it. And for those of you who didn't watch my prediction video, I pointed out one thing that I feel like is very important, and that is the Ugas and Porter fight. Right? We all saw that fight. I would imagine we all saw that fight. Shout out to Nicholas, man. Thanks for dropping by, bro. So when you look at the Sean Porter and Ugas fight, that fight tells me a lot. And if you didn't watch my prediction video, I said that I felt that it was a draw. I scored it a draw, 6 rounds to 6. That's it. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I didn't give it to Ugas was because I gave Porter the benefit of the doubt in the 11th round. I thought Ugas was winning the 11th round, but Porter did seem to catch him and hurt him. And then in that instance, it becomes a little bit, subjective, because some people like to score rounds a little bit differently in that scenario. For me, I typically give fighters the benefit of the doubt if you're able to hurt your opponent, even though you may be losing the round. Unless it's a complete blowout and you're just getting pummeled the entire round and then you land a sneaky shot. That wasn't the case. It was a close round, but I did have Ugas slightly up. But if I give Ugas that round on my scorecards, Ugas wins that fight. And if Ugas beats Porter, then we will have a completely different scenario in the welterweight division, in my opinion. So people need to be reminded that this Ugas is no joke, man. He's no joke, and he's bringing something to the table which Manny Pacquiao has had trouble with his entire career, and that is counterpunchers. Ugas is a counterpuncher. All right? So let's look at it. Let's think about it. The fighters that Manny Pacquiao has had trouble with, right? Juan Manuel Marquez, Eric Morales, Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he had problems with Miguel Cotto early in their fight until he found his rhythm and was able to adjust and hurt Miguel. But, so look at those fights. He's always had problems fighting guys that are able to time him and counterpunch him. So, I think people need to really understand that this isn't just some tough Cuban fighter that has some skill. This is a guy who, in my opinion, has really built his career not only possessing that Cuban pedigree of boxing, but also being a very good counterpuncher. And so, one thing that I do want to notice and point out here, one thing that did swing into Pacquiao's favor was the fact that he no longer has to worry about a southpaw. And that was one of the biggest factors, in my opinion, the way that I saw the Pacquiao Spence fight was I thought that Manny Pacquiao was going to have a lot of trouble with Earl Spence with the simple fact of Earl Spence being a southpaw. And now he doesn't have to worry about that. That does swing into Pacquiao's favor. Obviously, he's had a stellar career against right-handed fighters. I mean, left-hand fighters too, but he simply hasn't fought very many of him to give him that uh, many accolades. But nonetheless, he's ripped through orthodox fighters through his career. So he's confident, right? He's like, oh, I don't got to worry about a fast counter puncher, body puncher in Earl Spence, who's young and strong. Now I can just focus on a 35-year-old or whatever he is. I think he's 35, 34, 35, Ugas. And he's a right-handed fighter, so I'm going to be able to move a little bit more comfortably. So, yes, that is a factor that has, as I said, swung into Pacquiao's favor. So we're going to see how Ugas handles a southpaw who is unorthodox, who comes at you at angles, as we all know, who has improved his right hand over the years, and is a future Hall of Famer. You know, this is a huge test for Ugas. Now, here's I will say this though, with the boxing pedigree of most Cuban fighters, there's a lot of southpaws that come from Cuba. So I guarantee you that Ugas has sparred and dealt with a fair amount of southpaws, either in his amateur and or pro career. So I think that he thinks he's not worried about it, and we're going to find out if it's going to trouble him or not. Yuga still has the height advantage, not quite as tall as Earl. I think it's like a half-inch difference. He still has a reach advantage. Still, once again, not quite as much as Earl. Earl has a kind of surprisingly very long reach for a guy who's 5'9" and a half. He's like 72 or 73-inch reach, which is pretty impressive for a guy in the welterweight division. Okay. I don't think Ugas is quite that long. He might be around 69 or 70 in reach, something like that. I had it written down. I forgot to write it down, but I know it's definitely not as much as Earl Spence. So Black Superman, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping by. Tiave says disappointed, but I got Ugas Divine. I just want to see the pot stir a bit. Yeah, so there are a fair amount of people, choosing Ugas, and I get it. I do get it. But I'm look. I mean, these are the final thoughts. I'm laying everything out on the table for people to go back and digest. Hopefully, I don't sway you one direction or the other, especially if you've already betted on this fight. I don't know if we have any people. If you've betted on this fight, let me know in the comment section. If you put some money down, I'm curious to know who you betted for and how much money. But if you don't want to disclose that information, that's obviously fine as well. But I personally didn't. I was considering on doing it for Earl Spence Pacquiao. Glad I didn't, because obviously the fight was canceled. And I tend to do that. I don't bet on fights very often, but when I do it, I usually wait like a week before the fight. Because number one, I'm I'm a day by day type person. and I learn as I go, and things change over time. You know what I mean? And I want to see training camps, and I want to study the fight, and I want to, be sure. I'm one of those people. It's like even if I sit down and play Texas Hold'em, I like to stand and watch a table for a while before I sit down and play. That's just the way I am. I just don't like, you know, go get go get my go get my chips and just sit down. Like, I take my time. So luckily, I didn't bet. Now I can just watch this fight as a fan, and who wins doesn't really make a difference to me. Now, before eventually, I'm going to be live here for about an hour or so. We're about 25 minutes in. Hopefully, some more people will filter in. I know it's night there. People are working. People are getting home, and a lot of people been on YouTube all day, watching a lot of different channels report. I know Blue Blood is in Vegas at the moment reporting the fight. So we'll see if anybody else drops in. Black Superman says, I feel like if it goes to decision, then they'll give it to Pacquiao. It's a very interesting point. I'll touch on that in a moment. Ugas has definitely proven himself as a top welterweight. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't let his loss to Porter fool you. Since he's been with his new trainer, he's like 11-1. Ugas is 11-1, man. And that one loss being a split decision loss to Sean Porter, which in my mind should have been a draw, and could have easily went his way. So, doesn't matter how you cut it or slice it. If Ugas wins, nobody should be surprised, in my opinion. Nobody should be surprised. Nobody needs to come up here and be like, yeah, but, maybe Pacquiao's too old. Nah, I don't want to hear none of that shit. If Ugas wins, man, give him his credit. He's earned this. He's added weight, and technically speaking, he's a replacement fighter for Errol Spence, but I don't see it that way. I think he's going to be tough, man. I think he's going to be very tough. He's going to make it very uncomfortable for Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao should win, all right, but it ain't going to be easy. I'm telling you. And I'll be here post-fight, and I have a feeling I'm going to be up here saying, I told you so. I told you it was going to be a tough fight. Despite whoever gets the nod, I'm going to be up here telling you guys, I told you so. So I'm not worried about that at all. Cristiano, what's good, man? He says, I don't remember ever even watching Ugas. Hopefully he can put on a show. Well, you might want to go watch him, bro. You might want to go watch him. The Porter fight, just go straight to the Porter fight. It's the most recent one. And, I didn't watch very many of his fights either. I watched a couple before the Ugas fight, and I was like, okay, I kind of peeped game a bit. But when he fought Porter, he impressed me, man. I thought Porter was gonna outwork him. Like, I thought Porter was gonna impose his will in the middle rounds and take him out. I mean, going into it, I'm like, Porter should be comfortable. And Ugas made it very difficult for Porter. As a matter of fact, Porter went in there as if, he's going to do what he always does and pressure and outwork him. And he couldn't. Ugas was counter-punching the shit out of him. And then what did he do? He dropped out of working from the inside, which is his bread and butter, and he was forced to box with Ugas. And, he did decently enough to where, I kind of, he won some rounds in the middle rounds. But if I had my scorecard, I have a scorecard somewhere, man. But I'm pretty sure that I gave Ugas like the first 5 rounds, at least. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I went to all Ugas, and I remember scoring the fight, and I was like, damn, like, I don't know how this is a split decision. Like, the first 5 rounds and the way that I saw it, I'm thinking, there's 7 rounds to go. Like, I don't know how, unless Porter does something crazy, and then Porter did make adjustments, and I started scoring some rounds for him. And those rounds that I gave Porter weren't like rounds where I was like, yeah, Porter's really made a massive adjustment, and now he's taking over the fight. He was barely edging out Ugas, in my opinion. So if you don't know much about Ugas, you got time tonight, Friday night. After you watch me and you go watch Stormy B on Friday Night Chop Up, because he's going to give you guys some good information over there too about this fight. After you watch me and Stormy, go and watch that Porter fight. Relax and watch that fight. It's a great fight to watch, regardless. It's a very entertaining fight. And make the decision for yourself. Obviously, I was preparing for the Spence Pacquiao fight. I made 3 or 4 videos about it. I had plans to do a big breakdown video with a pro fighter out here who's a friend of mine. And so if anybody's disappointed, it's me. But like I said, man, Ugas is gonna be a tough cookie, man. Philip, what's good, man? Ugas winning is better for the sport, in my opinion. Manny winning would kind of slow things as far as potential matchups. Yeah. So, good point here by Felix, and let me address that for a moment. So, before I get into my predictions, I'm going to be live here for about another 30 minutes or so. And I promise I'll leave you guys with an official prediction before I end it. But good point here brought up by Felix. So, what if Pacquiao wins? Well, if Pacquiao wins, obviously the next topic of conversation will be, okay, once Spence is recovered, then that's the next fight to make. I think that's the fight that Pacquiao really wants. And he feels like he's got to get over this speed bump and get past Ugas and make that fight happen with Spence. The problem is this, though, however. This is the problem. Is now there's like a dark kind of cloud above above Earl Spence, because not only did he come back from a car accident, and now he's coming back from an eye injury. And so that's what people are going to be talking about if that fight is made. Now, I'm hearing different rumors that he may be ready to fight. Like, he's going to be recovered by December. So I've heard a lot of rumors that Earl Spence and Manny Pacquiao, if Manny Pacquiao wins, they're going to try to make the fight in late December. I don't know how true that is, but those are the rumors that I've heard. So if Pacquiao wins, ideally he would face Earl, right? And they're going to make the whole topic of conversation to be, oh, well, Earl, is he going to be okay? He's car accident. People were already leery. Now he's had this eye injury. Now people are even more leery. And if he loses, then, unfortunately, they'll probably blame it on that. Most people blame it on that. I haven't bought into it that much. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll recover and he'll be fine. But a lot of people are worried about that. At the end of the day, what does Pacquiao want? Pacquiao wants to be the undisputed welterweight champion before he retires. He wants to retire the undisputed champ. That's just what it comes down to. And if Earl Spence is the next closest thing that is not too far away, he's going to try to grab it. Now, for me, it don't really matter, because I think, rather if they were fighting tomorrow, I think Earl would win. If they fight in December or January or February, I think Earl will still win. So for me, it doesn't really matter. Pacquiao's river of success is gonna run dry soon, in my opinion. And it could be against Ugas, like straight up. So if Ugas beats Pacquiao tomorrow night, I think Pacquiao's done. Pacquiao's done. Pacquiao will retire, especially if Ugas, God forbid, knocks him out or completely just counter punches the shit out of him and makes it look like a Mayweather Pacquiao situation, or even worse, and outpoints him. Pacquiao's done. So Pacquiao has to perform very well in this fight. He has to convince people that, yo, like, I still got it. I can beat Spence. Don't get it twisted. I'm 42, but I still got it. You're going to beat up a credible fighter in Ugas, and you're going to convince people. You know, he will convince people that he still got it. But I'm telling you, if Ugas wins this fight, it's a wrap. So to Felix's point there, I wouldn't be worried if I were you. If he loses, he's done. If he wins, he's pretty much got to win in grand fact. Like, he's got to win convincingly. None of this, like, it can't be a Porter Ugas situation. It's a split decision, and it's kind of controversial because it's going to make it tough for them, in my opinion, to sell the Errol Spence fight. Now, I think Earl might still fight him just because it'll be a bad look on him if he comes back. Pacquiao technically did win, and he moves around, maneuvers around Pacquiao and fights somebody else. So, but it's not going to have the same flair to it if Pacquiao squeaks by a decision. Rather, it's a split decision or a majority decision. He needs to win convincingly. But for me, it doesn't matter, because if he wins, he's got to face Spence early next year or late this year, and he's going to lose regardless, in my opinion. And we don't know. Like, Ugas might put some damage on him. So there's a lot of stuff at play here. Now, if Ugas wins, like I said, Pacquiao's out, and now you've got this combustion in the welterweight division, right? Because Ugas just beat Pacquiao. He propels himself in the top 5 of the welterweight division, at least, right? So he can get Spence next. He can get Spence next. And you got Keith Thurman there and whatnot. Let me just real quick pull up the ratings here. Just want to double check what the Ring has welterweight standing at this point. Pull this up. Dr. Hook looks good. Left bicep of Ugas doesn't look good at all. Yeah, I saw Blue Blood. He posted something about that. That shit looked crazy, man. That shit did look crazy. I hope that ain't real, man. I hope he ain't got no injury and he's trying to hide it. And as the fight goes on, he can't punch properly. Man, that's man. I don't even want to think about that, bro. For real, I don't want to even think about that. All right. Let's look at the rankings right now for Ring. All right. So this is where it's at right now, currently. You got Spence at number 1, Terrence Crawford at 2, Pacquiao at 3, Porter at 4. Ugas is already at 5. Okay? Right now. Danny at 6. Jaron Ennis at 7. Curatillo is like Uzbekistan. Number 8. I'm not going to even try to pronounce that last name, man. But he's at 8. 9, Virgil Ortiz. And then 10, we've got Iemantas Statonius from Lithuania. All right, so basically it's basically like top 6 for me. But the thing is that you can throw Virgil, man, because he's the next one, in my opinion. Virgil Ortiz is the next one that can jump up in here and cause havoc. But let's look at this just for a second, since we're on the topic. So if Ugas beats Pacquiao, he's top 3. He's top 3, period. And I don't care that he lost to Porter. I don't care about that because in my mind, that shit's a draw. And you lose by split decision. And if they want to run it back, they can run it back. But if Ugas beats Pacquiao, he's top 3. And what will end up happening is Pacquiao's out. Pacquiao, I think, will retire, especially if Ugas wins convincingly or, like I said, knocks him out. Pacquiao's done. So he's out of the equation. I think Ugas will jump to 3. Porter will stay at 4. And Ortiz might move up. He might shift in here. He might jump up here a bit. But so then it's a conversation of, okay, does Spence then fight Ugas, the guy who beat Manny? And if Pacquiao retires, then it's not Spence's fault, right? If Pacquiao loses to Ugas and says, all right, I'm done, well, there's nothing Spence can do. Now, if Pacquiao doesn't retire, Spence has the option. He comes back from injury. He may say, okay, I'll still fight Pacquiao because that's what people wanted to see. But still, like, that's the thing. If Ugas beats Pacquiao convincingly, how do you sell that fight? You know what I'm saying? How? But he'll have the option. Earl will have the option to either fight Pacquiao if he doesn't retire or fight Ugas right away, the man who beat Pacquiao, or he can avoid all that and take care of Terrence Crawford, make that fight, and then the winner of Crawford and Earl will then fight Ugas. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, man. There's a lot of possibilities. But I wouldn't be worried about Pacquiao. You know, like for me, I'm fine with it, win or lose. If he loses, I think he'll retire, in my opinion. If he wins, it is what it is. If he wins, then he's still in the top 3, and then I think he'll fight Spence when Spence recovers. Simple as that. Simple as that. And, so Terrence Crawford, is it confirmed that Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter's going to fight? So, you know, this is the great thing about the welterweight division that's actually happening. It's like we're creeping closer and closer to finding an undisputed. Right? We're creeping closer and closer to it, which is a good thing. Cristiano says, these welterweights should have fought each other 3 times by now. I hate these guys. Yeah, I feel you. But it's starting to happen now. It's starting to happen. And, you know, Manny Pacquiao is kind of a monkey wrench because the man is 42 years old. It seems like he's been in the welterweight division for like 10 years or some shit. And he fights once a year. He's always in the rankings, but he's not really that active, you know. And so, in a way, Ugas can kind of save the welterweight division. And I hate to say that. The Manny Pacquiao fans are going to get so upset that I say this. But Ugas can kind of save the welterweight division. Because if he beats Pacquiao, you remove that monkey wrench. You know, Pacquiao sails off into the sunset as a future Hall of Famer, and we get back to business, and it's going to be easier because Pacquiao, like I said, man, he's Manny Pacquiao. So even though we want Earl Spence Ugas, we want Earl Spence Crawford, we want Crawford Porter, like whatever we want, it's hard to get it because Pacquiao is just like, hey, I'm still here. I'm Manny Pacquiao. You guys can't fight yet because you got to fight me first. You know, I'm the legend. I'm just keeping it real. And Pacquiao fans can get upset if they want. Willie says Porter versus Ugas 2 needs to happen regardless of the outcome of Ugas Pacquiao, in my opinion. Well, definitely for Ugas. Definitely for Ugas. Like, he would like to erase that split decision, which, like I said, in my opinion, was a draw and could have easily went to Ugas. And I agree with you. For Ugas, he would want it probably to just say, you know, let me avenge that split decision loss. But I don't know, man. I don't know if Porter will fight him. especially if Porter loses to Terrence Crawford. That's why I want to see something different, Divine. Yeah, man, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, make sure you guys are smashing that like button. You guys come in, hit that like button. It's not going to be very active tonight. It's Friday night. There's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people are at work. A lot of people are just getting off work. YouTube has been blowing up all evening because of the weigh-in and whatnot. But this will be uploaded once I'm done here. I have a link pinned up at the top of the chat. If you want to jump in real quick before I end this live, I'm going to be live for 15, 20 more minutes. If you want to jump in, this is your opportunity. Just click the link and I'll have you backstage. But yeah, I didn't expect a big viewership tonight just because of everything that's going on. And I would imagine if people aren't at work, then they're probably burned out of YouTube by now. Felix says, Ugas versus Crawford. I'd love to see it if Ugas pulls it off. Yeah, I mean, a lot of different possibilities, man, in the welterweight division, no doubt. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this fight is more important than what people realize. More important than people realize. Because if Ugas wins, he shakes up the entire welterweight division because Manny Pacquiao will no longer be a factor, in my opinion. I don't think he'll be a factor. And even as much as Pacquiao fans will still want the Spence fight, if you don't perform well against Ugas, how are you going to sell a Porter fight? And that's the will of the gods, right? That's the will of the gods. Check this. Check this. Imagine this, man. If Pacquiao gets either completely outpointed, God forbid gets knocked out against Ugas, what do you think Spence would have done to him as a southpaw who's even bigger and longer than Ugas? Like, for real. I've been talking about the Spence and Pacquiao fight basically since it was announced. I made several videos of it, and Pacquiao fans coming in here trying to rip me to shreds, telling me I'm crazy. But check it. Like, I can't wait until late Saturday night after the fight's done, man. Because if Ugas wins, I'm gonna be on here and be like, look, this is what I try to tell people. People like to try and discredit Divine Sense boxing, man, and say, oh, I'm a fanboy of this fighter or that fighter. Nah, I'm a boxing fan, and I have a very unique skill when it comes to boxing. I know how to predict fights and break down fights. This is what I'm known for. And I promise you, I will prove it again. I promise you. It's the same thing I tell you guys about Wilder Fury. I promise you. And people will learn, just like they learned 10 years ago, to subscribe to Divine Sense, man. If you want to hear a breakdown of a fight and you want to see, okay, what does Divine Sense think about this fight? Well, you come to the right place. I know my way around a boxing ring, and I've been around and talking about this stuff for a very long time. And so I'm telling you, Ugas is going to be tough. So people better wake up, man, and smell the coffee. Like, for real. I got my coffee right here. Fucking espresso shot. So I'm awake. Yeah, I'm awake. And I got up at 7 a.m. to make this live, man. So I'm wide awake. So let me go ahead and take the last 15 minutes or so of this stream. And all the people that jumped in today or tonight, I appreciate you, man. No, it's not a big stream tonight. No big deal, man. No big deal. Uh, I didn't expect that many, to be honest with you. But for those who did stop by and take the time out of your night, I appreciate you. And I understand that some of you guys are probably working and listening at the same time. That's even more respect for you guys, man. I appreciate that. Make sure you hit that like button. If you want to jump in real quick before I head out, the link is pinned up at the top of the chat. And if not, if nobody calls in, no big deal. I'm going to go ahead and start winding this last 15 minutes down and go ahead and get into my prediction, man. The official prediction. And also, real quick, guys, keep an eye open. Guys, keep an eye open for me. Right after the fight, I'm going to go live, man. Last time I did that was against Casimoro and Rigondeaux. That damn stream blew up. Yave was there. I think Felix was there too. That shit blew up. We had like 450 trolls in this bitch. It was crazy. So I'm expecting the same thing, especially if Pacquiao wins by a close decision and it's close and he gets the nod. You guys better tune in to Divine Sense, man, because I'm going live right after the fight. And I'm telling you, it's going to get crazy. I'm telling you, especially if Pacquiao wins, because that's what happens. If Pacquiao wins, just like Casimoro, man, he won a fight that wasn't very entertaining. And, I came on here saying that, yeah, Casimoro may have won the fight, but he didn't do shit. And so that's the thing. If Casimoro would have knocked out Rigondeaux, trolls ain't going to be nowhere to see. There's nothing to talk about, right? But that's the thing. If Pacquiao barely slips by Ugas, which is very possible, the Pacquiao fans will be on standby. And they're going to be like a fucking tsunami looking for all the channels who are trying to dismantle Manny Pacquiao. So I implore you, right after the fight, be on standby, because I'm going to be live and it's going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy. Deanna, what's good? An official member of the channel. I always got to highlight them. Salute. Hope you're good. We're just talking about this Pacquiao-Ugas fight. I'm about to drop my prediction right now, the last 10 minutes of this live, because I want to make sure people have an opportunity to drop by Stormy B's Friday night chop up. I originally was going to go live at 8 p.m. Central Time, but I realized it was conflicting with Stormy B. You know what I mean? I don't like to do that, man. I like to have every channel have their opportunity to shine and do their thing. And so I dropped my time an hour back, so I can come out here, say what I got to say, and then get people over on Stormy B. That's how we do it. You know what I mean? That's how we do it. That's how it should be conducted out here. Ain't stepping on people's toes and try to take people's shine. And I got to give respect to Stormy because he's going to feature me on Saturday anyways. Javed says, why do you think you have 13 watching but only 5 likes? Oh, for sure. They're waiting for me to pounce. You know why? You know why, Yave? Because they're waiting for my prediction. They don't care what I have to say, anything I say before the prediction, they don't care. So they lurk and they're waiting in the shadows. You see, I ain't hiding. I'm on cam. All those trolls hiding. I see you, man. I see you. I know you're lurking, man. That's why you ain't clicking like. You're waiting for the prediction. You see, I know the game, man. I've been around too long. They're waiting for me to put my prediction down, and if I go against Pacquiao, they're going to dislike and leave. That's how they do it, man. That's how they do it. I probably have 6, 7 subscribers like watching right now, which is around the amount that I thought it would be tonight, just because of given the circumstances being Friday night. A lot of people are out doing stuff. I didn't expect a big viewership. So that means there's about 7 trolls waiting for the prediction. I'm going to give it to you. And watch the dislikes come up. Watch the dislikes come up. Because that's all they care about, man. That's all they care about. And you know what's funny? Last thing I'll say here about this troll shit. The cool thing about YouTube now, right? You didn't have this back in the day. But the cool thing about YouTube now as a content creator, you can look at the analytics, right? So you can see, how much of a video people watch. What's the average view time, and stuff like that. And anytime there's a video about, when I made videos about Casimiro, I make videos about Pacquiao. Pacquiao fans literally skip the whole video, go to where, I talk about a prediction. Or if I mention anything about Floyd Mayweather, God forbid, I mention anything about Floyd Mayweather, they lose their shit and they dislike. So you can see it in the analytics of YouTube nowadays. You can see how people operate and lurk. So I just find that funny, man. I find that funny. We ain't talking about boxing fans. We're talking about trolls, like, diehard Pacquiao fans. And if you say anything wrong or negative about Pacquiao, or God forbid you say he ain't going to win the fight, then, their favorite thing to do is dislike shit. Bro, you have damn near 10K view on your last after fight breakdown. They definitely watching you. Don't get it twisted. Oh, they definitely are. They definitely are. And there are people that subscribe just to troll. They subscribe just to troll. So they can comment, they can dislike, they can uh get notifications when you make a video. But it's fine. And I promise you, when I go live after Pacquiao Ugas, I promise you, it's gonna get lit. It's gonna get lit. As a matter of fact, 10K probably ain't nothing. We probably looking at 15, 20K. I'm telling you, don't miss Divine Sense after the fight. Because for whatever reason, I have a way of extracting the trolls from YouTube, man, because, I ruffle feathers. God forbid Pacquiao loses or it's a close fight, because then you definitely know it's going to get crazy in here. Oh, real quick thing for my subscribers, because I saw Dr. Hook, you asked Deanna and you brought up the Holyfield Tyson interview, because I mentioned that in my last live, right? I talked about that. And the video I made, what was that? That was that when I broke down the face off, right? With Wilder and Fury. Yeah, they tried to take that video down. So there was a moment where it was up and then it wasn't up. And then they told me I couldn't make it public. So I made it for members only. And then I got an email saying, oh no, you can make it public now. So it's public. But that just kind of popped in my head when you mentioned Tyson Holyfield, because I believe I brought that up in that live stream. Yeah, but anybody watching, that's something for you guys to watch, man. Holyfield dropped some crazy knowledge in that interview. All right, prediction time. Because Stormy's coming on here in a bit, so I want to get this out. It's funny. Look, man, viewership's increasing. This is how it goes. I don't know, man. Maybe people are getting off work or some shit. Maybe this is the time people get off work. Felix says, gonna have a Red Bull on deck tomorrow night. Shit will be spicy tomorrow. Oh, it's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy. And by the way, I'm gonna be tweeting live as well. So if you guys are curious, I'll put my Twitter up. But if you guys are curious of my, round by round thoughts, it will be up on Twitter. So make sure you follow me on Twitter if you got a Twitter account. If you don't have Twitter or you don't use Twitter, don't care about Twitter, then I'll be on here post fight. But yeah, there's my Twitter if you do have it, and I'll be giving you guys a round by round breakdown, and basically it's a live scorecard. If you guys want to know my thoughts round for round, I'll probably be on Twitter, man. So make sure you follow me. All right, prediction, man. The trolls can't stand it anymore. They're waiting patiently in the shadows, hiding behind trees and shit. So let's give them what they want. All right, prediction, man. So I haven't changed my mind. FYI, I haven't changed my mind about how I see this fight going. I already made a prediction video about it. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys can go back. I talked a little bit more detail about it. I hit most of the points today in live, but if you want a quicker, straight to the point video, it's only like 10 minutes long. You can go to the video. Let me just pull that up real quick so you guys can see where to find it. If you haven't watched it, if you have nothing to do tonight, you want to scroll through YouTube, then yeah. So if you go to my videos, man, right here, it's this one right here, Manny Pacquiao versus Ugas, fight breakdown. So yeah, it's 10 minutes long. So this is where I got into a lot of interesting details. If you want more ideas about what I think about the fight. All right. So for the sake of conversation in this live stream, let's go ahead and get into the prediction. All right. So like I said, I haven't changed my ideas. I wanted to see the weigh-in. For those of you who just joined in, if you guys don't know, Ugas weighed in at 147 right on the dot. He looks in great shape. He looks lean, looks ready, looks motivated. I think there is a lot of motivation, for him. Absolutely. I feel like that he feels that he has earned this opportunity. And I feel like he'll probably weigh in fight night, probably around 152-ish. He will be the bigger man, in my opinion, come fight night. Manny Pacquiao weighed in at 146, which is good. I was expecting 145, 146, so he landed right where I thought he would be. Fight night, he might crack 150, maybe. But regardless, Ugas will be the bigger man. He'll be the taller man, reach advantage, and he'll weigh more, guaranteed. So just letting you know. Does that mean anything? Maybe not, but it's part of the conversation. So the weigh-in, they both look good. Manny being 42, it's hard. It's hard to be too critical of a 42-year-old, and I mean that with the utmost respect. Because a younger fighter, you expect them to be chiseled, you expect them to look good, but when you're 42, your body's just not the same. So in that regard, he looks pretty damn good, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I give him credit. So this is why I like to do my final thoughts, because the weigh-in sometimes does tell me a lot. The fighter looks weight drained. They don't look healthy. Things like that play a huge factor. And the Pacquiao Oscar De La Hoya fight is a perfect example of that. A lot of people were getting hyped about Oscar, and then weigh-in came and he looked like absolute dog shit. So I have to check these things before, the last moment, do I change my prediction or not? And that's what I wait for, is the weigh-in. So we've seen it, and based off of what I saw in the weigh-in, which is like the final note, I haven't changed my prediction. I think this is going to be a 12-round fight. I think it's going to go the distance. I think that Ugas will give Pacquiao problems with two different punches. Left hook, right uppercut. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, right hand down the pipe." Nah, Pacquiao is gonna be on the lookout for that, and quite frankly, that's not even Ugas' best punch. Go back and watch the Porter fight. His best punch is the right uppercut. Okay, especially against a fighter like Pacquiao, who likes to jump in. The right uppercut's very sneaky against the southpaw. Rather you're going to the body or you're going for the head. If I'm Ugas, I'm putting that right uppercut into his body all night long. You're 42 years old. I'm gonna test your rib cage. I'm gonna test your diaphragm. I'm gonna test your sternum, and I'm gonna put it into you. I think his left hook will catch Manny as he comes in as well. Those two punches, I think, are going to be a factor. With that being said, we have to remind ourselves that Pacquiao has been here many, many times before. Pacquiao has a reputation of being down on scorecards early in the fight and fight his way back in. He also has the ability to do the opposite, which is be up early, then give away middle rounds, and then try to win late, in the fight to try to close it out. We saw him do that like 3 times against Juan Manuel Marquez. Well, 2 times because the last time he got knocked out. But he can do either one. So that's the thing with Pacquiao is he's very unpredictable. When it comes to Ugas, I think he's gonna have a game plan from round 1. He's gonna try to use that game plan for all 12 rounds. Pacquiao at 42, he may play possum, pace himself early, try to figure out the range, let Ugas get off a little bit, and then he might pick it up. I'm not sure which Manny Pacquiao we're going to get, but I do feel like this is going to go 12 rounds. I think that it will be some back and forth. There'll be some moments. There will be moments, mark my words, where Ugas will shine. Well, people will say, okay, I was wrong about this guy. This guy's pretty damn good. This guy's pretty damn good. Like, I guarantee you there will be a moment in the fight where that will happen. But ultimately, guys, one thing that Pacquiao doesn't get a lot of credit for is he does have a hell of a chin. Yes, he's been knocked out before, but he's also had over 50 fights. He's been in there against some of the biggest punchers in the game. Okay. He's very durable. He's got a hell of a chin. And the fight with Thurman kind of stands out to me a little bit where he's in there against a younger, quicker fighter, and he just figures out a way to land punches that he needs to land, man. And he forced Thurman to dig very deep, and try to walk Pacquiao down. And he had his moments. He won some rounds. But Pacquiao, man, he's a very, very difficult man to bet against because he's just been around, man, and he just knows how to get shit done and do just enough. So I think it's going to go 12, and I think that it'll be a close, unanimous decision for Pacquiao. Possibly a split decision for Pacquiao. Very possible. But I think it's going to go 12, man. And there's a very, very, very high chance that it'll be a controversial decision. Well, maybe not controversial, but it'll be close. It'll be close. And I can feel that there will be potential controversy, at least on YouTube. And so you got to prepare yourself for that. Okay, you got to prepare yourself for that, especially if you're going for Ugas in this fight. If you're rooting for Ugas to pull it off, be prepared for a close fight that may not go Ugas' way. And, the first place you can stop by is Divine Sense Boxing because I'll be talking about it. But that's my prediction, man. That's my prediction. And I'm not, like I said, I was going to vote on the Manny Pacquiao Errol Spence fight. I was willing to bet on that fight. That's how confident I was for Spence. This fight, I'm not going to bet. I'm going to be watching it as a boxing fan, so I don't really give a shit really who comes out on top. I have nothing to lose, but I'm rooting for Ugas because of two reasons, and I'll finish off with this. Two reasons. Number one, I would like the welterweight division be cleaned up a little bit. No disrespect to Pacquiao, okay? But like I said earlier in this live stream, Manny Pacquiao is the monkey wrench of the welterweight division. He makes it difficult for us to get the young lions together because he's always knocking at the door. He won't retire. He's been in the welterweight division, it seems, for a fucking lifetime. He's been there forever. And anytime we want to talk about two lions getting in there, it's like Manny Pacquiao saying, nah, like, I want to fight Errol Spence first. I want to fight Keith Thurman first. You got to give me the fight. I'm the legend. You know what I mean? And so I want Ugas to win for that reason. And also I want Ugas to win because he's representing Cuba. And Cuba's going through a very difficult time now. The country's going through a very difficult time. I think it'll boost morale for the country, and it'll be an amazing thing for him to pull off for Cuba as well. And lastly, I want him to be on. I want him to do well because I would like to see him in other big fights. I want to see how he would do against the Spence or what have you. He was 35 years old. He doesn't have too much time left. So, all those reasons, I'm rooting for Ugas. I hope he wins. Hopefully I can come on here and be like, damn, I was wrong. Ugas pulled it off. But at the end of the day, man, I just been around too long, and I just feel like it's a situation where Pacquiao might squeak this one out. And it hurts me to say it, but it's just the way I see it. And so we'll see, man. We'll see. Well, I'll be here post-fight, as I said. You guys enjoy watching the fight. Be safe out there wherever you plan on watching it. I don't know if you're going to the fight or you're going to buy it on pay-per-view. You're going to fucking live stream it. I don't know. I have my ways on watching fights, which I won't disclose here. Unless you want to know, you can hit me up personally. My email is there. I'll go ahead and drop my email here real quick. Anytime you guys want to email me about anything, if you want to jump on the show, if you have a topic that you would like me to talk about, or you just want to hit me up personally, if you want even more of a personal touch and hit me directly to my phone, you can become a member of the channel and you'll have direct access to me and text me anytime you want. So that's a heads up for Deanna and anyone else, Jave. Make sure that you go to the community page on my channel. Go to the community tab. Scroll through. There's a message there for members only. Have access to contact me personally and other perks. You are an official member of the channel. I want you to utilize your perks. You paid for it, and I want you guys to have access to it. So make sure you do that. But also, here's my email anytime anyone wants to get in contact with me. So that's my prediction, man. Stormy B's live right now. I went a little bit longer than I wanted to. If you guys go and stop by Stormy, tell them I apologize. I didn't mean to go longer than 8 o'clock, but it happens. But I'm going to jump over there too. I'm going to show some love to Stormy B before I get on with my Saturday. It's Saturday for me out here, man. So, I got to enjoy the weekend. Got to take the daughter out to the pool and get a swim on and do my thing. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Hopefully you've already hit that like button. If you're watching, lurking, you want to troll me, that's cool. At least you can do is subscribe. You want to, hey, all the trolls out there, make sure you subscribe because I'm going to be on here post-fight. So I'm giving you the opportunity to come troll me. Come troll me Saturday night. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys on the Stormy B channel. I'm going to drop by there real quick, show him some love before I go on with my day here on Saturday. Big love, big respect. Appreciate you all. Stay safe, stay positive, stay strong. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.